Hey everyone, welcome to Devlog 0 of a new game project I've been working on. The game is currently titled Cybernetic Sunburn, and it's an immersive sim set in a cyberpunk world. Or it will be, at least. I hope. If you're not familiar with the term, an immersive sim is a game that emphasizes player choice rather than player skill. That's pretty broad, but basically we're talking about games like Deus Ex, Dishonored, and Thief. They reward player exploration and player choice at both the strategic and the tactical level, or you might say at the emotional and practical level. So I can choose which route to take, what actions I perform, and whom I choose to kill. That's in contrast with games like Halo or something where you need to go from A to B and kill everything to progress. So why an immersive sim? Well, a couple of reasons. First, I love immersive sims. I think they represent the absolute best gaming has to offer. If you check out the list of top 10 games ever made, there are usually at least one immersive sim in there, usually more. This is in spite of the fact that there have only been about 5 to 10 serious attempts ever made. AAA studios tend to struggle to make them because they don't always sell as well as is required to make back the investment. Making an immersive sim at a AAA level is expensive, and coupled with the opportunity cost of making other more bankable games, i.e. multiplayer games, they just constantly get shelved. This has happened to both Deus Ex and Prey, despite them both being critically acclaimed and, pretty much loved by their players as well. I think this is an opportunity, though. The strength of immersive sims is not in the expensive polish that is absolutely required of AAA titles. It's in the design, and design is, comparatively at least, cheap. So, I plan to make a low-budget, low-fidelity Deus Ex-alike. As supporting evidence to my hypothesis here, I present the game Neon Struct, which was released in 2015. Neon Struct is a masterclass in getting bang for budget. All the main level geometry is voxel-based, which allows for really quick iteration on level design, and things like character animation and other polish is kept to an absolute minimum, and the game is still great and still nails the core gameplay loop of immersive sim. Okay, so let's lay down some scoping decisions then. I'm going to make the game in the Godot engine. I always prefer to use open source tools if I can, and in this case I think Godot is more than powerful enough for what I need. I'm going to opt for C# rather than GD script. This is a decision I'm not 100% sure on because some of the C# support in Godot is a bit shaky and it's basically all done by one guy. This is potentially a risk. Having said that, the support is getting better all the time and I'm more comfortable in C# than GD script. And frankly, I don't need to learn another programming language, so C# it is. It's going to be a first-person perspective in 3D. This will be a bit of a challenge for me. I've made and released games in the past, but they were all two-dimensional, and making the jump to 3D sometimes makes my head hurt a little bit, but I reckon I can do it possibly with some help from some 3D artists at some point. It's going to have a single-player campaign of around 4 to 6 hours in length. Immersive sims can generally squeeze more hours of gameplay out of an environment than other games because of the exploratory nature of the gameplay. I've spent hours exploring environments for secrets where you can, in theory, complete the objectives in 5 minutes. It's going to be set in a somewhat futuristic setting. The simple reason for this is that it allows for a lot of gadgets and abilities without invoking magic, which I don't like to do. I prefer scientific bullshit to magical bullshit in general. And finally, I'm going to self-fund the project. I have a consulting business that does reasonably well, and that means I can capitalize the studio sufficiently for something so low budget. So no Kickstarter or anything like that will be required. Alright, let's go. Wish me luck.